Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 9 of Town Hall. I'm here, as always, with my esteemed co-host, Mayor Steve Schewell. Today, we are going to take a look back at 2018 here in Durham and try and cover some broader issues and just give some context. So for topic number 3, we started to move a little bit in this direction. I'd love to speak with you about housing. It's something that I know you're very passionate about, and you have been for some time. I'll ask you the same question that we talked about with the previous topics. How would you sort of grade Durham on our housing infrastructure and housing policies last year, and what are we moving into in 2019?
Yeah. We have been out to look at land where affordable housing needs to be developed. We've done a lot.
Yeah.
And this still remains at the top of Durham's agenda. So I've been mayor for a little over a year, and I work on this every day.
Why is that? What is it about housing that you think? There's so many things, obviously, that are important to the quality of life in Durham, but what is it about housing that you see having such a big impact overall with the city?
Yeah. I'd say that we are in a period of tremendous prosperity in Durham, and that newfound prosperity, 80% of our people are sharing in it, and 20% of our people are not, mainly in communities of color. And one of the ways in which this manifests itself is through through gentrification and the problem of housing affordability, which is growing tremendously in Durham, and it's on the top of everybody's list of concerns, as it should be. I mean,
and when people talk about housing, is it specifically home ownership, or is it does it include rent? Apartment rent, housing rent, sort of the full gambit of living space.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you think about housing affordability, and you can think of it on a spectrum. There are people who are truly homeless, and the city just completed the point-in-time count, and so we'll know pretty soon how many people that is in Durham. But on an average night in Durham, last year you might have had 50 to 70 people outside, sleeping outside, which is too many. And then in a single year, and then there are people in shelters, of course, and in a single year, Durham has probably 1,300 people that cycle in and out of homelessness. Some of them are homeless very briefly. They're homeless because they're in a shelter because their government had a shutdown and they didn't get a paycheck and they couldn't pay their rent that month. Something short term. And then there's some people, including the people that live outside, who are, have addictions or, post-traumatic stress. They're veterans whose lives have been devastated or something. So there's that part there's that end of the spectrum, and we have a whole lot of work going on in order to change the lives of homeless people in Durham, which I can talk about. But then you go all the way up the spectrum, and then there are people like you, somebody who you have a good job, you have a really good new job, you're living in the middle class, but still affording a home in Durham is really hard. So you could think about, and in between, there are all kinds of, there's all kinds of other people. So what I would say about this last year in Durham, and I'll talk about this a lot in my State of the City speech, a whole lot, in terms of housing is we've done some really good things, but mainly it's been a year of preparation to do some better things. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that we have in Durham that leads to homelessness and a lot of other problems is we have evictions.
Right.
So 900 eviction filings in Durham a month, 500 people evicted in Durham every
900?
month. Filings, 500 evicted every month.
Wow.
500 evictions every month. So legal aid, and there's a Duke clinic also that are devoted to trying to change this, giving legal representation, because most of the people who are being evicted have no legal representation. So the city, with your tax dollars, we're funding 2 attorneys and a paralegal to work with these eviction clinics to increase our ability to help people be represented in eviction hearings. And the people who are represented by attorneys are evicted at a far lower rate than people that have no attorney. So that's one of the things we're doing, again, kind of, when you think about kind of at the lower end of the income spectrum.
Sounds like a good use of my tax dollars.
I think it is a good use.
Pretty happy about that.
It is a good use. And then, there's the Durham Housing Authority. We've talked many times, you and I, about the Durham Housing Authority, and I think it's really important to keep it on people's radar. Latest count, 4,000 people approximately living in Durham Housing Authority communities. Their average income is $13,000 a year. Many are old, many are disabled. And we have to improve the housing that they're living in, and we also need to help them live in mixed income communities. If you live in the Durham Housing Authority community, and one of them you're, McDougall Terrace or Cornwallis or Oldham and Liberty, you are bearing the double burden of poverty. Mm-hmm. Not only are you poor, but everyone around you is poor. So we have to change these communities. We have to help the people continue to live there with the same highly subsidized rent that they're receiving now. And we need to make these mixed income communities, and we can do that. It's just going to be very expensive and very hard, and it's going to take a decade. It's going to take a decade.
Are those people living, that $13,000 a year, is that full-time? Are they on, or most of them have full-time jobs?
Some of them work at Bojangles.
Sure.
That's not 40 hours a week at Bojangles at $7 and something an hour is $14,000 a year. Mm-hmm. But some of them just have disability, Social Security disability, or they're they're old and all they have is a little bit of Social Security. Right. So there are a lot of old and disabled people there as well. But there are a lot of people that work jobs.
Yeah.
And it just don't make anything.
Right.
And so that's the whole other end of the housing problem in this country is we're not going to subsidize our way out of it. We're not going to be able to use your tax dollars to build enough affordable housing so that everybody has a house. People have to have good jobs
right.
that they can afford housing.
Right.
And so that's crucial. And our city ability to influence that, we have some, and I'm going to be talking about that in our State of the City, but we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of ability to influence because we live in a big in a system of global capital, mm-hmm. and that's driving wages a lot more than anything that we can do. In addition to which, our state legislature doesn't allow us to set a citywide minimum wage. We would love to set a citywide minimum wage, $15 an hour,
yeah.
Or whatever makes sense. But now the state legislature doesn't even let us do that. Mm. And so, but in terms of housing, going back to that, we have putting a lot of things in place. We're working on an affordable housing loan fund, which I'll be talking about at the State of the City. We're working towards, again, the redevelopment of the Durham Housing Authority properties, which will not only serve the people who live there now, but add lots of affordable and market rate housing to downtown. We have the missing middle housing discussion going on, the expanding housing choices that our planning department is bringing us to talk about how to densify in town so that more people who want to live in town and won't have the expense of transportation, which is expensive, will be able to live in town and be able to walk and bike and get to work that way. And we have a whole lot of other housing work going on. And I think this year we've had some good successes. We have received the tax credit for the 82 units of affordable housing right next to the bus station, mm-hmm. The transit station downtown, which is a wonderful place to have affordable housing for people. It'll be so great. It'll be right there near where they can get a bus. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of other affordable housing work going on by our nonprofits. Durham Community Land Trustees has got 54 units that it's redeveloping with the help of the city in East Durham. CASA is redeveloping lots of units in Durham. And there are other, Habitat is working with the Durham Housing Authority now to get some land that it can be increasing its building on. So there's a lot of great work going on. We've got a lot of great work to do. But in the State of the City, I'll be talking about the big picture of affordable housing and laying out our plan for the next few years. Well, I think the other thing about it is just home ownership in Durham has become really expensive. Mm-hmm. Small houses in my neighborhood. I live in Watts Hillendale. A small house on Carolina Avenue, a couple thousand square feet, is selling for $425,000. I mean, the prices have gotten really high. Mm-hmm. I do think we'll see some softening in the market nationwide in terms of home prices. I've been reading about that, but that'll just reduce the rate of growth of these prices. I don't think it will reduce the price. And so for my generation, who we bought in when houses were cheap in Durham. And we've reaped this incredible windfall through nothing that we did. We just happened to buy the house at the right time when housing demand in Durham was low. So people in my generation, we have a lot of the benefit of having a lot of equity in these houses, but your generation doesn't, and it's making things very hard. And so I think that is a national problem. Again, we're not going to solve that here in Durham.
Well, I'll make sure to listen into the state of the city, and maybe I'll reconsider my my home ownership after all.
Your home ownership phobia?
Yeah.
One of the things we've done this year, and I'm really proud of, is we have started a racial equity commission that has a 1-year term. It's being headed by Judge Elaine O'Neill, and who's also now at Central is she has a interim position, big position at Central right now, but Judge O'Neill is heading our racial equity task force, and they're going to come up during this year with ways in which they think Durham can work to become more racially equitable. Not only what the government